Hello! So this is the boss 10 speedrun. It's pretty much every boss in Woolly World stuck back to back with the added twist that they're a little bit faster than when you fought them in single player, and by a little bit, I mean a fair bit. So the first boss here, Monty, the only real tech we have for this guy is he's going to pull out a projectile and try to throw it at us, and we can actually head bonk him during this time. If we miss, we take damage, but he's not going to kill us, so we gotta go for it every time. So we'll have a second attempt at it coming just here. Bonk. And we do a small jump, and that's just to help us line it up. After the fight, the boss fight won't actually end until we collect all the gems, and then afterwards Yoshi will walk from wherever he's on the screen to the middle. So by trying to end in the middle of the screen, we can cut some time out, and you'll see us trying to get the gems as quick as possible. Gems despawn after a set out amount of time. So for that one I just stayed in the middle so that I wouldn't have to do the walk back animation and let the gems despawn. So next we have Bert the Bashful. So for Bert here, we're pretty much going to be licking some Shy Guys and spitting them at him while he jumps around between left and right. We have to wait a bit for our first egg. Until he gives us an egg we can't hurt him or damage him. So we'll just do some jump tongues for the sake of it there. So once we've got him once, we can lick his pants down a bit, and this is when it's going to get a little bit XXX adults only. But once we take his pants off, he flies away in embarrassment, and we get to collect all the gems to end the stage. So this is the first time you've seen us throw an egg to collect the gems. You'll see us doing this a lot. The two reasons really: the egg travels slightly faster than us, so it collects gems pretty quickly. And the second is it allows us to try to finish as close to the center as possible, which are really the two big things we want to do to save time between every single boss, because in the end it will really add up to a few extra seconds saved. Now we're on to Notwing the Koopa round 1. So you might notice that Monty and Notwing both said round 1. It's because these are actually reoccurring bosses throughout the game, and we'll fight them multiple times. For this fight we just need to dodge him and then pound and wait and dodge this attack, which isn't much. I'm actually going to flutter up into the top corner here. I don't need to do it for the first one, but I need to make sure I do it for the second time. So we have to wait for him to pound, and then when he's on the ground we can lick his back. But for this final one, we can actually just flutter up the top of the map here and lick him straight away without having to wait for him to go into the attacking animation. Once again, we use an egg to collect the gems and finish in the middle. And now we're on to the boss of 2-8, which is Bunsen the Hot Dog. Shout out to the Mad Puns. So at the start of this boss fight, he's actually going to spit 3 fireballs at us, which we will swallow, and they'll be the 3 eggs we will be hitting him with throughout this stage. Most bosses take 3 hits to beat. It's the classic Nintendo or classic boss. We'll get all 3 eggs here. We'll actually get 1 4th egg later on, which we use to collect the gems. I need a small help there. The reason I do that is just to help with timing. I need to know how long I have to wait until I can actually hit him, because you can't damage Monson until he turns grey. So we're going to be trying to push that as early as we can, because the quicker we hit him, the quicker we can get through the boss fight. Alright, now Bonson's going to go back and do his spitting fire thing. We can actually just, if we find a good spot, stand still and we don't have to jump over any of this stuff, because his fire doesn't actually cover all of the ground there. Now for the final one, we throw him and then we eat this fireball before it hits us. And that gives us the egg to collect all the gems, with which we missed the shot, but that's okay. It's only very minor time loss in missing that shot. Alright, now we're on to the 3-4 boss. For those not familiar with Wooly, every -4 and -8 are the boss stages. So 3-4 is Big Montgomery, round 2. This is the second appearance of Big Monty, and he's surprisingly easier than the last one, or at least in terms of boss 10, he's easier. So this time he's equipped himself with a helmet, so we can't head bonk him anymore, but he's made the mistake of bringing in enemies which we can use as eggs to hit him with. So here we just want to take him to the right of the screen, because after this attack he'll move to the right, but since he's already there he's just going to pop straight back up for us. We want to push our pounds like as far to the side as we can so we can get them as early as possible there. He will take damage intentionally, doesn't matter. We just want 2 eggs. 1 for the last hit and of course 1 for the gems to finish in the middle again. That is 3-4 complete, so now we're up to the boss of 3-8. This is one of the more scary bosses. This is Miss Cluck the Insincere. Miss Cluck has this weird thing where you can cancel her attacks and things with a short stun animation whenever you hit her with an egg. So much like Notwing and Bert, we're going to be licking her to do damage instead of throwing eggs at them. But what we're going to do is we're going to do up licks to lick her, and then she'll become vulnerable. But it'll take 2 up licks in the next cycle and then 3 up licks in the third state in order to actually bring her down to the ground so we can damage her. So what we're going to do is we're going to up lick, and then we're going to immediately spit with the egg we just pulled off her. That's going to hit stun her, and then we'll lick her again. And hopefully we can land all of these. Miss Cluck is one of the more trolly bosses. The stunning can be a little bit precise, and it takes a while to learn. It's not too horrible. If you do miss it, you can still use like your regular eggs to stun her and cancel whatever animation she's going to go into, and then bring her back to the center again. Once Miss Cluck's down, this is generally when you are out of the reset city and you've got a thing going. Because doing that fight quick can be like a big time save or time loss. It can take easily like 10-28 seconds off your time. Which may not seem like a lot, but there isn't too much time gain or time loss throughout boss 10, so 10-20 seconds is a fair bit for one boss. So now we're on to Notwing round 2. This is our second Notwing fight, and this time we're in a water zone. So we can actually take a hit here to get Notwing damage to pound earlier. The basic premise of this fight is we need Notwing to pound the spikes on the ground. And what we can do is we can bait him into attacking us, essentially, and we just guide him to a spot where he's already attacked and destroy the bridge till he hits the bottom. Hugging the wall here, we can use a tongue to prevent him from pushing us and get him to damage himself on the second pound instead of the third. Notwing is probably the hardest boss in terms of collecting his gems after the fight. They tend to spray towards the center every time, and they spray really far as opposed to like depending on which side you damage them on or anything. And you don't have any eggs, so you have to go collect them all by hand. Naval Piranha is one of the funnest bosses, in my opinion. We can't beat this one as quick as the YI players can beat theirs, but we'll do our best. So, Naval Piranha feels a bit like an auto-scroller, but there are a few minor time saves we have. Running to the right there into the Piranha's mouth saves about 1 second. Here we want to run right and spit to get this done as quick as possible. We can save a few milliseconds. And this is the auto-scroller part. If we were playing with 2 controllers, or if we had badges, we could do pounds here to cancel this attack. Fortunately, in single player, we just have to wait it out. So this is the final auto-scrollery section of this boss fight. And we just take this time to play around. We can jump between these attack bits here. We can flutter to avoid all these attacks. There's no reason not to flutter, it's really simple. We did miss the pound there, which is a bit repeat dip, but you know, it happens. Basically, if the plant's head falls down where you are, it can be a bit of a hard to get the pound in quickly. Because you'll just get pushed to the side and pound in the wrong spot. We're on to Big Monty round 3. This is going to be our biggest and finalist Monty fight. And this is probably the only one where you really have to be afraid of things going wrong. So Monty comes underneath the ground here and tries to push it up. Does it once the first time, twice second, 3 the third time. This snowball attack here is really hard to dodge. All you have to do is just move slowly to the right. Here I'm intentionally taking damage, and that's the part that makes this fight somewhat hard. Unfortunately, there's a chance he'll do what he just did there, where he cancels his own attack, and then you can't damage him. This is a thing that happens sometimes when we damage boost on Monty. Yeah, by taking damage on the Monty fight, we actually cause him to stop doing this attack here. So we would have cut out like 3 seconds or so, 2-3 seconds every time we cancel the animation. But that's Monty dead. And we will not be seeing Monty again, so good riddance. From here on out, all the bosses start to get a bit more intense. For those who have had troubles in Boss Tent, you were probably found from here on out to be where you would generally get stuck. Sniffbug is the boss of 5-8. He's one of my favorite bosses. He can be a bit punishing in single player. So the trick with Sniffbug is if we don't have full eggs, he'll spit out 3 Shy Guys. And we need 9 eggs, so if we eat 6 guys, then we'll have 6 eggs and he won't spit out any more. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to make 5 eggs and then just keep the last one in our mouth to make him think we don't have a full inventory of eggs. So that will cause him to spit out these additional ones, and then once they're out we can just spit them all at him. It takes 3 hits to push him off the edge, so by having 9 eggs in total, we can push him off the edge 3 times. This section here, it can be a bit tricky to dodge all these spike balls or ice balls, but you can just chain flutter over the side of the edge. So we'll hit him 3 times and then pound him, and he'll go back up the top and do some more attacks. These ice balls that fall down from the sky, they can actually block your eggs. So you might want to aim a bit higher here. With the Sniffbug dead, we are on to the world's 6 bosses, which are 6-4 and 6-8. Obviously we're going to finish with the big bad boss himself. But 6-4 is just as scary and punishing. This is Notwing the Koopa round 3. So the problem with Notwing is he has this attack that he'll do after you damage him, but it only happens after you've damaged him, so if you can't damage him again during that attack, you're going to have to wait a bunch and just play through his fight regularly. I'm currently using a setup that was found by Macromania, that I found out about because of Macromania, where you just do a spit there. I used to do upshots, but the spits seem to be a bit more consistent. We collected 2 eggs here, 1 for the final upshot, or 1 for the spit and 1 for the gem collecting. And with Notwing down, we are on to Baby Bowser. Baby Bowser is one of the few bosses who will kill you if you mess up too much. If we obviously took our time and played it safe, we wouldn't die to Baby Bowser, but that doesn't always happen, especially when you're trying to PB. But yeah, we do have a few strats which we can sacrifice a bit of time to make sure we get this more consistently. So this fight's all about land markers in the background. I'm going to run over to the spool on the right here. Being on the left side of that, he'll pound in a place that he doesn't actually hit any of these Shy Guys, so I can get all 3 eggs. As with most bosses, we have to hit Baby Bowser 3 times. Here we just want to dodge the file. It's not a random pattern, it's the same every time, so it's not too difficult. We can do a quick shot here before he jumps in the air to stun him. For this final section, he does a bit of pounding. We can intentionally take damage on the final or second pound. That'll allow us to stay right up on him, so we can get the hit in quicker. However, if we just stay a bit to the left, we lose only a few 100 milliseconds. And it gets us an extra set of hearts, or we can take 1 more hit in the final section, so that's just a safety strat. And of course we have the giant Baby Bowser fight to finish off with. So here I need to collect some wool and hit the giant floating wool around his head. Once we get rid of half of these wool, he's going to move into the second phase of this fight. So we want to fill up on eggs right now, and then hopefully once we hit him again, and he goes into his part 2 transformation or whatever it is, we want to have an egg here that we're eating, and take the chance to fill up. And this means we'll have enough eggs to finish him off, and we won't have to get any more. So So it just lets us make some use out of this downtime we'd usually have. Now we're on to the final 3 hits. And last hit and time is on the black screen after this, when it fades to dark. And that is where we'd usually end time. And that is Boss 10. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.